topics at these meetings because people that have addictions are dealing with day-to-day stuff just like every single person. The things that they're choosing, poor coping skills like self-medicating with drugs and alcohol. So if you hear something, if something resonates with you, please feel free to share. You do not have to be an addict in order to share. It's an open meeting. It's specifically why they have these, okay? So I'm going to explain to you exactly what you're going to do. So I want to give credit where credit is due. So there's a big movement now for something called bio-emotional or biodecoding, that a lot of these same techniques with anxiety and emotions are part of these techniques that these therapies are using. They're more postmodern therapies, so they're not something that you're going to read about in book, but they're very popular now. One of the main guys is Fleche. He's a Frenchman, which I find very interesting because his name means like target, like when you pull the bullseye, like an arrow. And he actually has a diagram that is like thoughts, beliefs, and then it's like emotions. And if you target the emotions, you can actually help the client release what they're feeling. So what you're going to do when you're the therapist is you're going to first find the incongruence. You're going to do like a regular session. What is it that the client is there for, and what is the erroneous belief? Remember, the erroneous belief. Find the erroneous belief. There's something that they believe that is in incongruence with what they learned as a child. Every single one of us is in conflict because what we want to believe is not what we're believing. Okay? That's going to be a source of anxiety. Do not think that just because someone is not diagnosed as general anxiety disorder, they do not have anxiety. We all have sub-anxiety some way or another. We may not be addicts and we may not have a diagnosis, but we all have anxiety some way or another because we all have incongruencies in our belief systems. Then you can ask them to close their eyes or ask them to define what emotion they're feeling. Okay, what is it that you're feeling? Tell me what you're feeling. If they start describing a thought, get them back to the feeling. Where do they feel it in the body? This is best done with your eyes closed, just so that they're eliminating the distractions. Then have them from 0 to 7 tell you a time where they experienced this emotion, and then have them do that exact thing. Confront the exact fear that they're trying to avoid. Okay, she doesn't want to open the door to the bathroom. She doesn't want to be the one. She wants Jehovah to come off his throne from heaven and open the door. No, make her open the door. Okay, have the person watch themselves having sex if they're a slut. How does it feel to watch yourself be a slut? Let them cry, let them freak. It doesn't matter. It is good so that you could release, like Fletcher says, release the emotion from that chakra. And then you can write a note about where the chakra is, where they hold the emotion, because then we can talk about what part of the body is affected in terms of where they have the chakra, the emotion and where it's held. Okay? So I'll interject where needed, and that's what I'm here for, so go right ahead.
First session, so good morning. My name is Pedro. Trisha. Nice to meet you, Trisha. So, what brings you here? No. Okay. How are you? How are you doing? You're okay? You're great? What makes you feel great? Food? You like food? What's your favorite food? Chicken? And what do you feel when you eat chicken? You feel good? Okay.
Okay, so let's first start with the incongruency. Look at her body language. She is so tight and protected that I need pliers to like pry her open. She is like, hell to the no, am I going to say one thing that's going to let you open me up?
Yes.
It's good that you're starting with something light like food. You've made her giggle a little bit. She did soften up a little bit because you went right there. So that was good. But there's an incongruency because she's talking about how great she is, but her body language does not demonstrate that. So you just make a note of it. Not everything is to be jumped at, but you make a note of it. So my job is to point things out.
So
Okay,
I was gonna put in my notes that she seems stressed,
perfect.
okay? But
Okay,
It's, I know, it's, to me, it's gonna be a little hard because we know we're, doing this in the open for everybody, so it's, obviously, she's gonna
okay,
be.
but remember that we are mirroring outside what's going on inside. Inevitably. Tanisha was a model patient, was, pretending, but there's some truth to what she was saying, and then she went off with her grandma, and the shot house, and all of that. There's always some truth. So, don't try to bypass that. It is hard, but, and then more importantly, if the student allows, the student will actually utilize it as an opportunity to get some assistance. So that's not what we're here for, to give counseling, but in a way it is, what ends up happening a lot of times.
But
So-
I think Pedro's a little nervous because you don't feel like you can ask those questions. Like, you
I
could
do.
say, you look, I mean, you could say, no, not you look, you could say, are you stressed?
Mhm.
She says, no, oh, because,
We sign consent forms in here,
Yeah.
and everything that's in here stays in here.
right.
So you are free to ask anything, and if something is inappropriate, I will jump in and say that, oh, not okay, okay? Or the client will be like, no. So do not worry.
Okay.
There's plenty of us in here as professionals that will tell you, no. So you go with what your gut says.
So Tricia, tell me about your family. Do you have, your parents, are you married? You're not married? You're, but, legally, are you married? Okay, so, but, you wanna tell me a little bit about how this relationship is going?
Okay,
Tell me
so
about
one
it.
moment. Did you know that she had an issue with her?
No,
Okay.
but I did, I mean, she just said, not really.
No, before you ask that
No,
question. Okay, so he didn't know, so you're going by hypothesis?
No, I'm just trying to
Break
get
it.
something, yes.
Okay. What did you notice, very obvious, when you asked her about the marriage?
That she didn't wanna talk about it a little, about
Okay,
it.
but there was something clearly that she did with her face
Yes.
that was
it-
like,
No.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know
you don't have to jump on everything, but make notes
Okay.
so that you don't forget and you realize. You know you hit a chord there. You don't have to write that because you're going with it, but you know you hit a chord there. Okay, and it's a chord. So go with it. That's exactly what we want. We want the client to be uncomfortable. Today is about making the client uncomfortable. So it worked perfectly that we got Trisha and that you talked about marriage. Now, she doesn't want you to talk about the marriage, and she's saying, let's talk about her children.
Correct.
You're going today, by my permission, to know we're gonna talk about the marriage. Because we're trying to release emotion. So today we're intentionally doing that. So it wouldn't be first session probably, unless you come to me.
Can I take a little curve with the children? Okay.
You could do whatever you want, as long as you make her uncomfortable today, and we're gonna get to the emotion.
Couldn't he start by saying, are you uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
Does that make you uncomfortable, me talking about
Does talking about your marriage make you uncomfortable? Angry? Okay, so. And if I may, why does it make you angry? What do you feel in your body?
Well,
When do you feel
don't
the
get
anger?
there yet.
Okay.
First, let's find the incongruence.
Okay.
She's married, but she's not really married. There's a major incongruence there.
Okay.
She's legally,
Right, right.
one of you said legally, I think it was you.
I asked if legally,
Perfect.
because she said not really, but so.
Okay, so you defined it
Mhm.
for her, but you now know that there's a big issue.
Right.
You've already identified an incongruence, so let's run with that,
Okay.
but you're doing excellent. And I love your stance, I love the way you ask questions, you're really a natural.
So please, tell me a little more about this anger that you feeling with your marriage. I'm here for you. Do you want to talk about it? Is it?
I'm sorry to interrupt. One of the things I learned
Mhm.
that I had a hard time with, you have to give them a little time to answer. I know that you feel like silence is like,
Yeah.
there's been silence for 5 seconds, I gotta get in there, because that was my issue, so
Mhm.
you'll be surprised how much comes out if you just sit there patiently for 10 seconds.
Could I use in this scenario, like, you remember we get, last class we said about tools, maybe give her something that she can use?
Totally, you can always use
To release
tools.
that,
Yes,
your
so
tension?
do I have anything that?
You have a stress ball?
Yeah, I was just
This
saying, I would
really
say, I would
needs
say
it.
energy ball.
Crumple piece of paper.
What do you see when you see this? Do you see yourself reflected in this at all? Okay. Would you mind holding this during the session?
Oh, you called?
No.
So that's a
That was a
technique.
little heavy.
We want to release her hands. This is Athena,
I think-
god of warrior, god of strategy. She didn't want men. She was born from the Zeus's head. Symbolically, my belief system, it's going to give her some strength. And she said what she saw. This person right now feels weak against a man. This was just a strategy that I used when you said a tool. I said, oh, Athena. Just hold it for the session. That's something you could do. She released now her body language a bit.
Mhm. Let me ask you, you separated? How, has it been long? How long has it been? 4 years? So, okay. And do you see your spouse every once in a while? Your children see your spouse? No? Do the children ask about that?
What can't you do? It's okay. What can't you do? Get it done. Where do you want to go? I want you to close your eyes. And I want you to tell me where you feel anger in your body. In your ears? Okay, can you describe that anger? Hot, steamy? Okay, can you connect to that? You feel the steam rising? So keep your eyes closed, and I want you to go back to a time between 0 and 7 where you felt that same anger. First thing that comes to mind. Your mother left and went to America. Okay, where were you? Okay, tell me about this experience when your mother left. Why were you so angry? Because she left you? Okay. What do you feel when your mother leaves you? What was that? Loneliness. Where do you feel that loneliness in your body? In your chest? Can you connect to that? I want you to take that loneliness and make it huge. I want you to amplify it and make it bigger and bigger and bigger. So big that it fills up the room. Is it big? Can you walk into that loneliness for me? What do you see? Where are you? In the living room? In what house? A house you had in Jamaica? How old are you? You're in the first grade? Okay, so you're in the first grade, so maybe around six or 7 years old, you're in the living room. I see you're smiling. What are you smiling about?
My mom is cooking, and she was making and helping.
She's cooking? What is she cooking? Dumpling? Can you smell them? Breathe in that smell of these dumplings. Is this right before she leaves you? About how long after does she leave to America? A week. Are you angry at this point? Do you know she's getting ready to leave? Did she leave you by surprise? When did she tell you she was leaving you? She never told you? Okay. Are you angry at your mother now still for leaving you? Okay. Can you go up to your mother and tap her on the shoulder? You're 7 years old. You're in the kitchen cooking dumplings. I want you to go up to your mother and tap her on the shoulder, tap her on the leg, and go, "Hi, Mom, I want to talk to you." Can you say that? Okay, say it out loud. Oh, "Hi, Mom, I want to talk to you." Go ahead, you can do it. It's okay. Get it out. It's all right. It's okay. So go ahead and talk to your mom. I want you to call her over. And let her know that you're really angry at the fact that she's leaving you. And I want to hear it out loud. I want you to say it louder, and I want you to emote the anger that you feel. Tell her what you want to tell her. Say it loud. Say it like you mean it. What are you angry about? Tell her that. And tell her how it made you feel. And how does it feel when your mom doesn't want you? It hurts. Do you feel unwanted? Do you feel that you're unwanted by everybody? By everybody.
Who do you feel that you want to divide? And who else? Is he your ex-husband? Your soon-to-be ex-husband? Can you tell him that you're worthy of being wanted? And that he's a son of a bitch? And I am a strong, brave woman. And I don't need you to get my worth. Is there something else you want to tell him? About the kids? Say it. It's okay. Take your time. How does it make you feel that he's not there to raise his kids, but he's there to raise other kids? How does it feel that your children are experiencing the exact same thing that your mother made you feel? It's devastating. It's absolutely devastating. I need you to tell him and your mother that you felt devastated. And when you feel devastated, what can't you do? When you feel devastated, you can't be the best mom that you want to be. What else does being devastated keep you from being? Can't be me. And when you can't be you, what does that do? You feel lost and what do? Do you lay in your bed? Can I imagine you laying in your bed or just laying there? I want you to imagine yourself just laying in your bed. How old are you? You know how old you are? Right now. Yeah, right now. Okay, you're 36 years old. I want you to see you laying in your bed. And I want you to look outside the window. And I want you to see that it turns to night. Is it nighttime? Do you see the sun setting? Do you see it becoming nighttime? Okay, imagine it becoming nighttime. Let me know when you see that it's nighttime. It's nighttime? Okay. So I want you to now take your time and you wake up and it's the next morning. And when you wake up and it's the next morning, you're 75 years old. And you have not gotten up from that bed for 30 years. What are you feeling? Disappointment. What happens when you're disappointed in yourself? You're 75 years old. You've let 30 years just go by. You're disappointed. You're devastated. You're not worth anything. You're weak. You're not worthy. Now what? I need you to really embody that, because that's where you're headed. What can Trisha do to get herself out of that? What help can Trisha provide to Trisha to get her out of that bed? A small thing, it doesn't have to be big. Okay, you have to have a one small thing, just one small thing that can get you out of bed tomorrow, that you can do to get out of bed. But I need you to think of it. It has to come from you. Make breakfast. What are you making for breakfast tomorrow morning? Eggs? Do your kids like eggs? What kind of eggs do they like? Scrambled. Okay, do you have eggs in your fridge? Okay, so can you make a pack to yourself that you're gonna go to Publix today after class and buy eggs so that you can make that for them tomorrow? Yes? I want you to take a deep breath and breathe in the air of 2018, of November 29th, 2018, and bring yourself back to today, where you're like Athena, strong and brave. And you may not have an owl, but you have a frying pan, and you can make some eggs for your kids tomorrow. And although your mother wasn't there for you after that one day that she made dumplings, you were there for your kids every single day to make them breakfast. Now I want you to connect to your heart, and I want you to tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 where the anger is. Okay. Is it more or less than before? It's less. Okay. That's all we can do. I had to interfere because I know this is an issue she's been dealing with, and I couldn't, my conscience couldn't let me. Okay. So you see how you could, and you did?
And you choose to remember for the rest of our lives the sacrifices that you made. Feel emotional.
Part of the thing that's happening here is that we repeat patterns. Okay? This isn't about her husband, and this isn't about her husband not seeing the kids. This is about her mother leaving her. And she is trying to be just like her mother and repeating her mother's patterns. So she's using the excuse, and I don't mean to be so harsh, but I'm trying to use it as a teachable moment. She's trying to be just like mom, but she's not like her mother. Her mother left. She's already in America. She's with her kids every single day. So the subconscious is like, what can I do to not show up for my kids the way my mother didn't show up for me? And so she's holding on to the soon-to-be ex-husband's story. But we are trying to repeat the patterns of the parents, because that's the incongruence. How could my mother leave me when I am here for my kids? Just like it's the one way, it could go the opposite way. My parents were bad, or my parents were good. If your parents are good, how can I be bad? If my parents were bad, how can I be good? It doesn't matter which way it goes. There's an incongruence. The moment she starts with anger, we have an emotion that we can start to see where it is in the body. How do your ears feel? Doesn't feel hot enough. Thank you. I know that wasn't easy. You want to keep it? You can get a good Athena. That would be a perfect homework. Buy yourself an Athena. They have small, tiny ones. See yourself reflected every day. Every day make a note to an Athena. Or put a picture of Athena on your phone. I mean, I give homeworks like that all the time to clients. I explain, because I use myth a lot in my practice. And I explain to them who Athena is. Athena was born from the head of her father. She did not have a mother. Do you think that's a coincidence? No, I just got that. Ding! She did not have a mother. And we know that you love your dad. She was daddy's little girl. That all just came together. Coincidence? I think not. Okay, we'll give you another client. We're putting you to work today. Thank you.
Yay, she's going.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I love it.
Bring your chair, Gigi. Okay, so now you saw,
Trish,
now conquer.
we love you.
We've got 40 minutes. I'll interject only if needed. Try to use this more or less. You said you were coming to work, I put you to work. This is the best way to learn, is doing.
Pedro,
Get
good
closer.
job. I told you.